Hi, this is Johnny Wilson, aka Johnny Amon, and I'm going to be reading one of my favorite fanfics. This is Chapter 3 of Casanova Spike by Gerardo41. Feel the love. Meanwhile, the main six were out getting things ready for the party. Maybe Jokestrap and Angel Pearl could join us, suggested Pinkie Pie. Actually, they're out of town for a few days, Rarity explained. Jokestrap sent him and Angel Pearl on a surprise date. Sorry. That's so sweet, said Fluttershy sweetly. I hope they're having a great time. Jokestrap was Rarity and Sweetie Belle's cousin, and owner of Ponyville Joke Shop and / Chemistry Lab. And Angel Pearl was Princess Celestia's adopted daughter and Twilight Sparkle's study partner. The two were at a roller skating rink. Thanks for bringing me here, Jokestrap, said Angel Pearl. She enjoyed it when Jokestrap surprised her. It's a pleasure being out with you, sweetie, said Jokestrap. Angel Pearl giggled and dragged Jokestrap onto the skating rink with her. Back in Ponyville, Twilight was in the library to be greeted by a very happy Spike. I did it, Twilight, he said proudly. I made a potion all by myself. That's great, Spike, congratulated Twilight. Now can you do me a favor? Sure. I got a few errands to do, and I'm a little too busy, said Twilight. Can you do them for me? Of course, said Spike. What are friends for? So Twilight gave Spike a list of errands to run for her, and Spike headed into town, while Twilight made sure he left. But Spike was in such a hurry to help Twilight, he forgot to warn her about the love potion. Okay, girls, called Twilight. He's out. The 5 mares came in with the decorations and snacks. Spike is gonna love this party, said Fluttershy. He also made a potion all by himself, committed Twilight. He must have been paying very good attention to you, darling, put in Rarity. Meanwhile, Spike was in town working on Twilight's errands. Excuse me. I just hope she doesn't accidentally drink the love potion, he said. Spike was tending to the errands, and the girls were preparing for the party for Spike. Rarity and Twilight were putting up the banner. Applejack and Pinkie Pie were in charge of snacks and beverages. Rainbow Dash brought the music, and Fluttershy got the streamers and party favors. It looks great, girls, said Twilight. Suddenly Applejack looked out the window and saw Spike approaching. He's a-comin', she cried. They turned off the lights and went very quiet. Spike opened the door and entered. Everything was dark. Hello? Twilight? He called. But there was no reply. She must have gone to help Applejack, he thought. Spike turned on the lights. Surprise! Spike could not believe his eyes. His friends were there, and the room was decorated with party favors, streamers, and many other things. What's going on here? Asked Spike. He was puzzled. Excuse me a bit. I had to get something to drink. It's a party for you, Spike, said Pinkie Pie in excitement. It's a special thank you for all the nice things you've done for us, added Fluttershy. You guys threw me a party? Spike was touched. Of course we did, answered Twilight. We wanted it to be really special. Let's get this party started, shouted Pinkie Pie, hip bumping the record player, starting up the party music. Spike enjoyed the party greatly, mostly because he got to dance with Rarity. Soon they were having snacks. These are delicious cookies. Well, actually he said, these cookies are delicious, said Spike. Like the first one better. Thanks, made them all by myself, replied Pinkie Pie. You should also try the punch. They looked towards the punch bowl, but they were surprised to find it empty with a few cups left full. Where'd all the punch go? Asked Twilight. Suddenly they heard a hiccup and turned around to Rainbow Dash. She had some punch on her lip and was looking rather guilty. Here you go, Spike. Rainbow Dash chuckled nervously, and she gave him one of the last full cups of punch. "Good thing I brought more," Pinkie Pie chirped. And she skipped happily into the kitchen with the empty punch bowl on her head. The punch looked exactly like Spike's love potion. When Pinkie Pie arrived in the kitchen, she grabbed the jar of punch and began pouring. It was about halfway full when Pinkie Pie remembered she had tasted a large portion in between pours, causing her to feel foolish. Suddenly, she spotted the potion. "Oh," she said in bewilderment. "I don't remember bringing 2 spare jars of punch. Oh well. She poured Spike's love potion into the remainder of the punch and brought it back to the party. "I got more punch," she called. Soon, the 6 men began drinking the punch while Spike had what was left from earlier batch. "Wow," said Rarity. "This is delicious." "No wonder Rainbow Dash drank almost all of the first batch," commented Twilight. "This stuff's tastier than apple pie with 30 flavors of ice cream on top," agreed Applejack. "It's also very sweet like honey," said Fluttershy. "Hey, Applejack," cried Spike. "Got any more fritters?" "Just a sec, But before Applejack could finish her sentence, she looked at Spike, and her eyes turned pink. Oh boy, the love potion was taking effect, and was causing Applejack to have a fantasy. Flash. The scenery had changed to that of a black and white cartoon. Applejack had just been tied to some train tracks by a villainous stallion in black with a mustache. "Help! Help! Help!" she cried. "Blah!" chuckled the villain. "No one can save you now, my dear. If you refuse to give me the recipe for your apple family cider, then you shall perish." "I'll never do as you say, dastardly Whiplash," snapped Applejack. "Very well, then," said the villain, stroking his mustache. "It was nice knowing you." "Not so fast," shouted a voice. Dastardly Whiplash looked behind himself and saw Spike dressed as like a cowboy with a cunning grin. "Oh, no!" gasped the Dastardly Whiplash. "It's Saddle Spike!" "That's right," he grinned. "And your number's up, Dastardly Whiplash." Then Spike blew his flame breath at the Dastardly Whiplash, causing his mustache to burn completely off. "My mustache!" whispered the villain. "There's more coming." Spike then got out a couple of gems, chewed and swallowed them in the same way of Popeye the Sailor Man eating spinach. He then flexed a muscle, which grew large. Spike then began to beat up the Dastardly Whiplash and tossed him into the air. "Curse you, Saddle Spike!" shouted Dastardly Whiplash as he fell and landed into a jail cell. "What? Where did the jail cell come from?" "Oh well, her fantasy." Spike then untied Applejack from the tracks and lifted her to safety just in time as the train came rushing past the tracks. "My hero!" cheered Applejack as she threw her hooves around Spike in a tight hug. Applejack?" Applejack's fantasy ended around by the sound of Fluttershy's voice. Fluttershy snapped back into reality and seized Fluttershy waving her hoof in front of her face to get her attention. "Whoa! Whoa!" said Applejack, shaking her head. "My head feels funny. Oh, hi, Fluttershy." Are you all right?" asked Fluttershy. "You looked over at Spike and then—" Suddenly, Fluttershy looked over at Spike and her eyes turned pink too, and she began to have a fantasy of her own. The scenery had become a butterfly-filled meadow under a soft peachy sky. Fluttershy was wearing a pretty gown. She then noticed someone approaching her and looked around. "Oh," she said, "it's you, Monsieur Spike." Spike was standing before her, dressed fancy. "Thank you for waiting, my dear," he said. Did you think I wouldn't?" asked Fluttershy. Spike smiled. "It matters not the negative thoughts on you," he said. "What truly matters is the sun shining in your beautiful face." Fluttershy's eyes filled with tears of happiness. "Oh, my darling!" She grabbed Spike and began flying him into the sky. While she was doing so, she sang a little song. You fill my days with sunshine, you bring my evening stars. Please stay with me, my love, and our lights will go far. Fluttershy! Hey, Fluttershy, hello? Fluttershy's fantasy had ended when Fluttershy snapped back into reality, with Pinkie Pie shaking her. Oh, hello, Pinkie Pie, said Fluttershy, a bit dazed from the shaking. Are you okay? Asked the pink pony. I think so. Well, you looked over at Spike and kind of went... Suddenly, Pinkie Pie looked at Spike, loopy. Now it was Pinkie's turn to be affected by the love potion and have a fantasy. Everything appeared to be drawn in crayon. Soon Spike appeared in Pinkie Pie's eyes. He was wearing a blue top hat and a suit. He held a candy cane in his claw. Well, hello, my dear, he said, tipping his hat to Pinkie Pie. I'm Sugary Spike, the king of confessions. Scrumptious! The two then went... The two go through the wonderland of sugar delights. The grass tasted like minty fudge. The river was made of chocolate. Heck, even the dirt tasted like chocolate. It was like being in a Willy Wonka chocolate factory. Or in the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. Whichever one you prefer. It's like a dream come true! Pinkie Pie cried in delight, stuffing her face with sweets. Only the best sweets for my sweet, smiled Spike. Yo! Pinkie Pie! Suddenly, Pinkie Pie's fantasy ended while she snapped back into reality to find Rainbow Dash looking at her in concern. Oh, hi, Rainbow, said Pinkie. Are you okay, Pinkie Pie? You look kinda like you were having a headache. No, silly, Pinkie Pie chuckled. I was just imagining me and Spike in a candy paradise. What? Rainbow Dash looked at Pinkie Pie in confusion. Then she spotted Spike and her eyes turned pink as her fantasy began. Everything was like a neon curling. Spike's skill shined brightly as he races on a motorcycle while wearing sunglasses. Rock on, dude, he said, whipping out a guitar with Rainbow Dash's cutie mark on it. A large number of fans suddenly appeared cheering. Among them in the front row with I'm Dating the Rock Star shirt was Rainbow Dash. Oh yeah, she cried as she saw Spike getting out the guitar. Spike jumped onto a pair of giant speakers and began playing an awesome tune on the guitar. The music was so extreme it caused the speakers to explode. Creating a sonic rainbow, the crowd roared with applause. So awesome! Murmured Rainbow Dash in amazement. Spike then spoke into the microphone. Thank you. No, it's actually, thank you. Sorry about that, folks. He said, I'd like to dedicate this little number to the coolest mare in Ponyville and the greatest wonderboats in Equestria, Rainbow Dash. Suddenly, a huge spotlight shined on Rainbow Dash. She arose from the crowd wearing a wonderboat's uniform. The crowd began to cheer and chant her name. Rainbow Dash! Rainbow Dash! Rainbow Dash! Rainbow Dash? Rainbow Dash! Rainbow Dash's fantasy ended when she snapped back into reality. She was shaking her head and seeing Rarity. Are you all right? Rarity asked. Rainbow Dash didn't answer. You did a great job on the decorations, Rarity, commended Spike. Rarity was flattered. Why, thank you, Spiky Wikey, she said. It took me a while to make it look right just for you. Suddenly, she looked into Spike's eyes and had a fantasy of her own. The scenery had changed to that of a large castle where Rarity was waiting in the tallest tower dressed as a princess. She then sees Spike dressed as a knight, facing off against a large beast who was blocking his way from the castle. Back, beast, he shouted, fighting off the creature with his lance. Nothing you do will keep me from saving my true love, the beautiful Princess Rarity. Oh, save me, Sir Spike, cried Rarity. Never fear, my lady, he replied the Dragon Knight. I will succeed. Spike charged at the beast, looking like he would pierce it with his lance, but he lowered it into the ground and pole-vaulted over the beast, while using his fire breath to set it on fire. The beast roared in pain and ran away. Spike jumps to the tower and brings Rarity to safety. Oh, thank you, Sir Spike, cried Rarity in delight. No thanks are necessary, my lady. replied Spike, kissing her hoof. "The only thing that pleases me is that you're all right." Rarity's eyes sparkled like diamonds. "Oh, Sir Spike!" The two leaned in for a kiss. Suddenly, Rarity! Earth to Rarity! Rarity's fantasy ended, and she went back to reality at the sight of Twilight looking at her in concern. "Yes, Twilight?" Rarity asked. "Didn't you want to sing karaoke?" she said. "Thank you for reminding me," Rarity said. "I was just having a darling chat with Spiky Wikey." She trotted off to sing. Spike soon spotted something about Twilight. "Hey, Twilight," he said. "You got some cupcake frosting on your lower lip." "I do?" Twilight felt her lip with her hoof, and a bit of frosting appeared. "You got it now," replied Spike, eating another cookie. "Thank you for looking out, Spike," smiled Twilight. "You're a great..." King! Now it was Twilight's turn to feel the love. Everything had turned into that of a newspaper comic. Spike entered the room with some flowers in his claw. "These are for you, Twilight," he said, giving her the flowers. "Oh, these are beautiful," cried out Twilight, putting them in a glass of water. "Only the most beautiful flowers for the love that's been with me all along," added Spike. A tear filled Twilight's eye. "Oh, Spike," she said, giving her number one assistant a hug. "You've always been there for me." Spike smiled as he returned the hug. "And same to you, Twilight." Suddenly, the fantasy ended. Spike looked into the group with concern. "I hope they're okay," he said to himself. "They keep looking at me and then act goofy." Soon, one by one, the friends headed back to their places for work. "I think I'm gonna go for a little walk," said Spike, heading towards the door. "I'll be back in a bit." "Okay, Spike," said Twilight, but she sounded disappointed that Spike wasn't going to stay around with her. Spike headed out the door, with Twilight watching. "Spike," she said lovingly. All right, that's the end of Chapter 3.